electricity. We can also see this in the Bible as well. In Matthew 3:16 it says, "And Jesus, when he was baptized, went straight up out of the water, and lo, the heavens were opened unto him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and lightning upon him." So this is a kind of code for the same kind of thing, showing you that the Spirit descending like a dove and lightning being upon it. This lightning is what actually is the essence of the Spirit that impregnates matter and changes it, and actually impregnates it and forms it and does something with it. And that's how the evolution begins as far as the material world goes. Now Milton in Paradise Lost, as you can see, he's saying the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, but he's also saying a dove-like sat brooding over the vast abyss. The reason he's using the word brooding is because that's what actually it says if we take a look at the meaning of it inside the Bible. For example, and the Spirit of God moved, and if we click on that right here, it says a primitive root, to brood. And if we take a look at the definition of that, of a bird sits on eggs in order to hatch them, and what do we have? We have the mundane egg, which is the first thing that comes out of the noumenon, or the non-existent, which is the egg, or the mundane egg, and it's actually Brahma that's opening up into the whole universe. It's kind of like the creation of a whole universe. And it mentions that there's many Brahmans, there's many Brahmas, there's many Vishnus. It all depends. Each time one of these nebulas open up, it does the same kind of thing. But for some mysterious reason, everybody in our history has always pointed to this area in particular and even painted it as well. It's very symbolic about what it lets you know about what is actually going on. The first thing that comes out of mind is a reflection of mind, which is the mundane egg. And so when we see that this dove-like sat brooding over the waters, when we take a look inside these cathedrals, this is exactly what we see right here. This is the Holy Spirit on top of the face of the waters, which represents the nebula, which represents the head, as you've seen in one of my previous videos. Now we also know this as well because when we take a look at the structure of these cathedrals, we know that these cathedrals are positioned so that the head is in the east every time. And if we take a look in this particular thing here, the firstborn, Viraj, also called Prajapati, and this is from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The very firstborn was the cosmic egg. And it says that his head is the east, his arms are that of the northeast, and that of the southeast, and his hind part is the west. His hip bones are that of northwest and southwest. So let me show you something. So let's take a look at a temple, for example, and you're going to find that most of the cathedrals are structured this way with their north, east, west, and south directions. If you noticed, east is pointed towards the head. And if we take a look at the document, it says that his arms are northeast and southeast. And if we take a look at that, northeast, this would be on the north side, and this would be on the east side, so northeast, southeast. And then down here, his hip bones are northwest and southwest. And that's towards the west, so we have northwest and southwest. So you can see the temple is structured the same as what we see as the cosmos. And what we see here is that this area right here, which represents the very east, which is the high altar, represents the head, and that is the dove sitting over the waters, which is the mundane egg, or the nebula, which is the firstborn. The firstborn, which is light, let there be light. So the nebula represents the head. It represents a reflection of mind, and it represents that first part where let there be light, which manifested into the physical universe. And if you remember, the dove also represents electricity. And electricity is what divine thought or spirit or what we cannot see, it uses that and impresses it upon matter and then forms it. And the first thing it forms is a reflection of itself. This last one I want to read you is from that same text, and it says meditation on Brahman as lightning. And it says the derivation of lightning as Brahman is being given is called lightning, Vidyut, because it scatters darkness. Really, lightning flashes cleaving the darkness due to clouds. So what actually occurs in the cosmos is we have this invisible spirit thinking about itself. So right here, once again, it says the mind, which is the subject of the thoughts, contemplates on the nature of elementary matter, and thus becomes of itself the quintessence of the 5 elements. The mind, as opposed to matter, it being the principle of volition, produces matter at its will. The quintessential mind next becomes a spark of fire of itself, and remains as a dim star, a nebula in the midst of the acuity of the unborn universe. And this is exactly why we see this type of information inside these cathedrals, why it's placed in the head. It's all checks out as far as in the Vedas. And so anyways, I want to show you some of the research that I'm doing right now and show you I'm kind of moving beyond the physical and into the spiritual realms. But I want to stress one thing that's very important. We're a miniature copy of the cosmos. So by examining the cosmos and by examining nature, you're actually going within. You're going within by going outside of yourself and looking around at these things. Because as above, so below. As below, so above. If you want to understand one thing, you look at the other. So you can understand a lot about yourself just by how we take a look at emanation, what actually occurs first, the part of the body that it refers to, even though that it's in a manifested form, we still get an idea of kind of what's going on as far as what actually happens in ourselves and within ourselves as well. And that's why it's so important to look at all this stuff as well as in just going within, meaning only within. All this stuff was put out there for a reason. It's all spoken of in all these ancient texts for a reason. It's because we need to be able to contemplate it and understand who we are, where we came from, and how our inner parts work as well. This whole idea of manifestation is the same thing that occurs when you have a spark of an idea in your head and it moves into your mind and you start thinking about it. You create images, and then eventually it moves to different states. It's the same kind of thing that we see in the cosmos as well. So anyways, I hope this interests you. You guys take care. I'll talk to you soon.